You know, one of my dreams in this world is to be half as beloved as Jody Leppo. To be half as beautiful and kind as that beautiful soul. So Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, once said this: you carry Mother Earth within you. Let's read it together. You carry Mother Earth within you. She is not outside of you. In that insight, it is possible to have real communication with the earth. My question for the day is, when was the last time you talked to the mama? When was the last time you took the time to talk to the source, to talk to the energy of creation, that which sustains us? When was the last time you had a conversation with the mama? I don't need to know the answer, but I'm going to challenge you to have a conversation this week. On this week of gratitude, on this week of remembering that you go out and spend some time with the mother, with the earth. You see, when we become still, when we become very quiet, we can begin to listen and we can begin to hear her. Yes? We awaken to the truth that the earth is not separate from us. And the lines of communication are always open. If you're not experiencing the beauty of the earth, guess who moved? You moved. In Tibetan Buddhism, the earth is seen as both a provider and as a witness. And I did not know this. I went back and revisited the story of Siddhartha, who became the Buddha. And when he was under the Bodhi tree, seeking enlightenment, about to become enlightened, and he was under attack. He was under attack by the tempter, by that energy known as Mara. Say that with me. Mara. Anybody have a Mara in your life? Anybody have somebody that pulls you off course? Anybody have that person in your life or that experience in your life where you know that you know that you know until they show up and then you're like off on 100 different miles elsewhere? Mara was attacking Siddhartha in his quest to be enlightened. And what did Siddhartha, what did Buddha do? Anybody know? He took his hand and he placed it on the earth. He didn't do a mantra. He didn't do a chant. He didn't do a fancy dance or a prayer or read scriptures. He took his hand and he placed it on the earth and called her to witness his right to awaken. Where you are right now, if you can do it, reach down and just touch the floor. I know we're on the second story, but she's powerful enough to reach up here. The earth, silent yet omnipresent, affirmed the Buddha, and the earth, silent and omnipresent, affirms each and every one of us here. The earth is much more than a passive foundation for life. She's a living partner. She's a living presence. She is alive with the energy that we need. And when we touch the earth, the enlightenment we seek in churches, in magnificent structures, and in scriptures, the enlightenment we seek is already present. If we just get still and quiet enough to remember, and it's supporting our journey towards awakening. Anybody here in this community have a practice of grounding or earthing? There's a lot of people that do that in this community, you know, and I'm a bit of a tenderfoot, so it's kind of hard for me to do it. They take off their shoes, and intentionally, as part of their meditation practice, they connect with the earth. In fact, David Castledini, I always marvel at him. He takes his feet off and he walks around the labyrinth on all of the stones and all of the pine needles and the bark. He just walks around. That makes my feet go, ah! And I'm a little bit ticklish, so Mama Earth tickles my feet all the time. But the very practice is a spiritual practice of grounding and earthing, of taking off our shoes. And I thought about that today. How often do I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is put my shoes on? And I put my tennis shoes on so I can get running about all the business, all the busyness that is mine to do. And I forget to even connect with the earth or with God or anything. I'm just getting things done. Anybody do that besides me? Let's get it all done. We move, we groove, and we never take our shoes off, which is just a symbol of pausing and stopping and remembering that I am connected to something greater than my busy schedule. This Thanksgiving, I'm going to give you a lot of calls, and that's number one, is to take off your shoes, go put your feet on the soil, and take a breath, and maybe stop the busyness. And don't look at Thanksgiving as just a day off. Look at it as a moment to remember that Sabbath is not an event. Sabbath is a mindset. Oneness is not an event. It's not a thought. It is a mindset. It is a state of being. When we physically connect with the earth, we absorb her energy, and she restores us. And I thought about that. You know, it's been a long time since I have done that. As a child, many of you know my backstory, I was filled with anxiety. I had ulcers as a middle school kid. In high school, I was in the therapist's office. I was in the psychologist's office giving me medicine to try and take away all this anxiety I had. And I'd totally forgotten that how the one doctor and the one doctor's office that absolutely brought me the peace that I had been seeking was my introduction to meditation. I would go as a very lonely child into the back 40. That's a country boy term, by the way. The back 40 where all the walnut orchards were, and I would lean my back against a walnut tree, and I would sit and put my fingers through the freshly tilled soil that my grandfather had just stirred up and made smooth. And you'd think a kid with anxiety and hyperactiveness and all the diagnoses that kid was given would not be able to do this, but it became my meditation practice. I would sit there for hour upon hour upon hour, and suddenly that which was racing in my chest, that which was racing in my shoes, disappeared. And all I did was sit against a walnut tree and put my hands in the soil and play with dirt clods. There might be something to the practice. I'm saying that what the world needs right now is to quit giving so much medication to kids and get them back out on the soil, to get them back out on the earth. But what was sad to me is the fact that I haven't done that. When was the last time that I hugged a walnut tree? You know, I am a little nutty. That's why I feel at home in a walnut orchard. The indigenous people of the earth absolutely knew this truth. Chief Joseph from the Nez Perce tribe, or Nez Perce, because it was a French name. Let's put the next slide up there. This is what Chief Joseph had to say. Let's read it together. The earth and myself are of one mind. Again, the earth and myself are of one mind. This Thanksgiving, I'm inviting us all to be very mindful, to have gratitude for the planet that sustains our families as we gather around the table. You know, I think it's so interesting to watch Thanksgiving movies and to watch my own family and to hear stories of families. We're so eager to eat, to consume. It's going to be so great. And all the conversation is around what are we going to eat, which I think is an interesting thing. How are we going to pause and give thanks for the source of that which we're going to be eating? My family just loves it. I happen to love Thanksgiving. It is one of my favorite holidays. And then as a minister, I can get a little long-winded. My family waits for me to take a breath in the middle of the prayer to say, amen. Amen. They're in such a hurry. We're so hungry. We're so eager to partake. And I think that our culture today, Western culture, is all about consuming, all about eating. And I'm going to invite you to get all the teenagers around your table this week to pause and to put your hands in the earth before you go to eat. To take the moment to get still, to get quiet and have a conversation with the mama before you put the turkey in your mouth. And everyone's going to be impatient. Everybody's going to want to get on with the meal. But I think what our culture and our United States needs today is a little bit more reflection, a little bit more stillness, a little bit more remembering before we stuff our faces, which is nothing more than a metaphor for where we are consciously. Pause, reflect, and remember, as the native people did, that there is a source, and she is speaking to us and asking us to pay attention. Yes? You know, if you look at all the wars, there's a lot of war going on the planet. Have you noticed that? What are we all fighting about? What is it we're fighting about? You get down to it, it boils down to one thing. What is it? Fear. Yeah, that's absolutely it. But what are we fighting over? Land. Land. You have my land. You have got my land, and I'm going to fight you to get it or to get it back. And I was reminded of Pocahontas. I just think that's one of the most beautiful Disney movies. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. How many of us are really, truly remembering? I'm saying that's your second bit of homework this Thanksgiving week. Remember. Remember. Together we say, remember. We have forgotten that land herself as our source. An anonymous quote that came from Native people. I tried to find the tribe. I could not find it. It's just the tribe of humanity. Our next slide, please. Let's read this together. When the blood in your veins returns to the sea, and the earth in your bones returns to the ground, perhaps then you will remember that this land does not belong to you. It is you who belong to the land. And the Cherokee people, whose land we sit upon right now, who were tricked, who were fooled and abused to give it up, I want to honor them today where we sit right here, right now. They said this: the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. You know, I have a very patriotic family, and my eldest stepson is very patriotic, and he named his first son Thomas Jefferson. And I remember the moment when I came to Georgia first, and we went to the presentation of the Trail of Tears, and I was desperate for my second grandson to change his name, Andrew Jackson. On behalf of Andrew Jackson and the people that look like I look, I apologize to the Cherokee Nation, to the Cherokee people. But it's not just an apology for what happened here in Georgia. It's all over the country. It's the apology that is necessary and needed, or at least the remembrance that people who look like I look have not always behaved in the best ways. This Thanksgiving, let's take a moment. And this is not to be a downer today. It's simply a call to remember. It's simply a call to honor. Can we do that? The earth speaks to us. She is speaking to us as the Native people are speaking to us today. Through the changing seasons, she reminds us of impermanence. Sounds a lot like a mandala, doesn't it? Come this week and experience impermanence. But come this week and look at the windows and the trees and remember autumn turns into winter, winter into spring, spring into summer, and the beat goes on. And the beat goes on together, and the beat goes on. Nothing remains the same in this world, and the earth is speaking to us. It is all interconnected. It is all cyclical. How else does she speak to us? How does the earth speak to you? I want to hear you. Call it out. The wind. What else? Come on, Jay Schofield. I know the earth's always talking to you. Blue skies, clouds, the river. When was the last time you had a conversation with the wind, the river, the trees, the soil? She speaks through her beauty. Yesterday, I know, Jay, that's true. He probably had a conversation with at least 3 trees on his way in here today. The mountains, the rivers, the oceans, the trees, the forests, they all invite us to practice something that is central to the Buddhist tradition, that is mindfulness. Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? It is paying attention to what you're paying attention to. And so tomorrow morning, when you go to put your shoes on and get about the business of living in the United States of America, maybe you can go outside, put your feet into the soil, and be mindful for a second. And pay attention to the voice, the still small voice of the mother who is speaking to you. Yes? Is that a yes, that a commitment, or is it, yeah, I'll tell you what you want to hear and get on with it? The Hopi tribe says this: be still. Together, be still, and the earth will speak to you. We're looking for answers. I'm putting on my tennies. I'm getting about my life. Get her done, get her done, get her done. When the reality, the earth itself is saying, stop, stop, breathe, and listen. When was the last time you had a conversation with the mother? When was the last time you put your back against a walnut tree and put your hands into the soil? And by the way, I'm also apologizing to the walnut trees because I picked up dirt clods and threw them at the trunk next to me. The earth speaks also through her pain. She speaks loudly through her pain. Climate change, deforestation, and pollution are all cries for help. Are you listening? Can you hear it? In Buddhism, this is called dukkha. Say that with me. Dukkha. Dukkha happens. Suffering happens. That arises when? When does dukkha arise in our human condition? Anybody who follows a Buddhist path? When we are out of harmony. When we are out of balance. For many in Western culture, nature has become just an escape. Oh, I've got to get away, so I need to go to the ocean. Oh, I got to get away. I got to go take a vacation in the forest. As opposed to what Mother Nature needs to be is an integrated part of our expression, our experience, our love, our family. The breath is all around us. Feel her breathing again. Reach down and touch the floor and feel the breath. And if you can't feel it, then go out of this room and when we're all done, don't leave yet. And go touch the earth and feel the breath. How do we respond when these cries are coming? The mother is calling for us to alleviate her suffering and to shift from earth as entertainment and earth as escape and earth as vacation and start treating her as the mother. Do we use compassion and kindness, Buddhist principles, Native indigenous people principles, or with neglect? Indigenous traditions and Buddhist teachings guide us towards balance and mindful action. Say that with me. Balance and mindful action. That is the call of Thanksgiving. Again, balance and mindful action. And one more time. Balance and mindful action. You know, when I get up here on this platform, I'm often, those of you who come regularly know I'm a little bit more energetic than I am today. I'm usually moving and grooving and dancing all around the stage. But I felt that there was an essential need this week, above all weeks, to get still. And to call in the Cherokee people, the Hopi people, the Lakota people, the Apache people, and to get still. In Buddha, there is a practice called metta. Say that with me. Metta, which just means basically loving kindness, extended to humans and extended to all living beings. For I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. We acknowledge our shared existence and the sacredness of all creation. Indigenous teachings mirror this compassion. This is what the Lakota people have to say. Let's read it together. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. You know, we live in a mindset and a culture, I don't know if you've noticed this, of immediacy. I want what I want, and I want it now. Anybody recognize that? I'm guilty, I've been there. I want what I want, and I want it now. Patience needs to be cultivated here. And I will make it happen. I will make what I want happen, even if it means disregarding others. Anybody recognize that? Probably in others, right? We live in this consciousness and this mindset that has created a narrative that is absolutely false. You ever notice that the Thanksgiving story is a symbol of exactly what I just said? I want what I want, when I want it, where I want it, and it doesn't matter if anybody is disregarded. The Thanksgiving narrative is written by the victors, as most history is. But we shall not forget the history, the backstory, the story behind the story, where people got run over. Now, I don't want this to be a downer. This is not a downer. But this is absolutely what is essential and necessary for the consciousness of those of us living in Cobb County, in the state of Georgia, in the United States of America. Some tribes view Thanksgiving as a day of mourning. Anybody feel that way? I know there are some here that probably do. Because it's the day the settlers came to their land, leading to decades of violence and decades of mistreatment. It's a time to remember the ancestral history and acknowledge the racism and the oppression that Native Americans continue to experience today. I sat, it was probably about 6-7 months ago, and I saw a PBS special, and I cried. I cry pretty easily. It's not hard to make me do that. When realizing that Mount Rushmore does not belong to the United States. It belongs to the Sioux tribe. The land was pulled from them. They were discarded and thrown away. I'm just saying today, I will go to any rally where there's a sign, let's give the land back to the people, the Sioux people. It's theirs. It's a time to remember ancestral history and acknowledge the racism and oppression. Some Native people have absolutely worked hard to reclaim this holiday, making it more about their connection to family, to the earth, and to their tribe, focusing on honoring the elders and taking care of those who are most vulnerable. This Thanksgiving, I'm inviting you to get the teenagers to roll their eyes and to get Uncle Joe, who just doesn't understand that wacky New Age person you are. And I want you to absolutely have a conversation with the most vulnerable elder in our midst, and that is the mother. As stewards of the earth, we are called to act, not just remember. Yes, we can remember is good, but then take an action. Do something. Sacred reciprocity. The indigenous people of South America in the Andes, sacred aini, sacred reciprocity. Say that with me. Sacred reciprocity. What does that mean? As much as you take, give. When you sit down to partake and stuff yourself and go take a nap on the couch or watch a football game, maybe you can just give something back to the earth. I'm going to invite the band to come back up. This Thanksgiving, I want to just point out we're out of balance. We're out of balance, and we've been out of balance for a very long time. I'm asking you to create an agreement with your family to engage in a balanced exchange between your family and the earth, and to do whatever it takes to confront the consciousness with all the rolled eyes, with all the rush to get to do the prayer, with all the rush to stuff ourselves and fall asleep on the couch, because that's what turkey does. To take more, to take less than what you need. We're the only animals on the planet that take more than what we need. The only ones. So if we look, and there's those that have been so worried about the earth. I'm not so worried about the earth because she's going to shake us off. If we don't cooperate, we're going to be like fleas on a dog's back. Bye. Now let's get about the business of the sacred love that we've always been. So this Thanksgiving, I'm asking you to talk to your families and ask the question, how can we be the salt of the earth? How can we be the ones to preserve, to protect, and to heal? How can we be the people of the earth and treat our planet and each other with the care and respect that is necessary? I'm saying this Thanksgiving, let's get down to earth. Get down to earth and treat this earth with the stillness, the honor, the respect that the indigenous people did. And maybe just take a moment in your heart to make an apology and to bring the Cherokee people, the Lakota, the Hopi, the Apache. There's hundreds of them. To bring them into your heart, offer an apology. Remember your oneness with them. She is our partner. Mother Earth is our teacher, our mother, and our sacred reflection. Go touch her. Put your hand down and let her bear witness to your becoming. And do it as a family and let her bear witness to our becoming as we make the journey back to the Garden of Eden, to the place of oneness that we all seek. I wish you a happy Indigenous Peoples Month. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And I wish you all of the love that you, as a person of the earth, deserve. Thank you.